Okay, hi everybody, this is Mr. Manning again, and this video is going to talk all about credit scores. So if you've watched the credit videos, then you've already heard a little bit about credit scores. And I did talk a little bit about the 5 C's in that video. I also discussed what the credit score actually means. But in my opinion, this is such an important topic because this will affect you for the rest of your life that I wanted to go into more detail about what a credit score is, how they determine it, and then basically how it affects you. So that's what this video is going to be all about. All right, so who comes up with my credit score? Every single person has a credit score. If you've ever had a loan at all, you have a credit score established for you. There are 3 companies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. These 3 companies keep track of all of the transactions for loans that you've ever had. So they know about all the loans that you've taken out. They know about your payment history. They know things about you like if you have a job, how much money you earn. They know this information and they use it to give you a score. Okay. Now, they will take all of this info coming in and they basically try to determine who you are as a person as far as getting a loan and repaying back the loan. In fact, it says that they have over 2 billion reports every month in the United States. So there are a little over 300 million people in the United States. If you do the math on that, that means like an average person would be getting about 6 reports per month about them. And that's actually probably higher because that includes younger people that would have no reports on them. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because with all of these reports coming in, there is a chance that there will be mistakes. In fact, there is often mistakes. So you have the right to look at your credit report for free. And there are several websites that you can do that. You probably have maybe seen commercials. Some of them have a fun little jingle to help you remember the name of their websites. But the government says that you have the right to look at your report for free. So I would encourage you to do that, to look at your credit report. You might even do it right now and see if there's anything out there about you. Because there could be, even though you're only in high school, there might be a credit report out there about you already. And make sure that there are no mistakes, because if there are mistakes, it's your responsibility to correct them. These 3 companies are not going to find the mistake. There are way too many people they're keeping track of, and there are way too many reports coming in every month for them to be able to know if it's accurate or not. They're not going to be the ones that find out for you. It's your responsibility. So if you find a mistake, they have a procedure that you go through to report that mistake, and then hopefully it gets removed. But I guess what I'm trying to say is please look at your credit report and do it often. It should not cost you any money to do so, and make sure that it is accurate. Okay, a little bit more about the credit score. I mentioned in the previous videos that your credit score is going to be a number somewhere between 300 and 850. The higher the number, the better. If you're kind of wondering like what the breakdown would be, anything 800 or above is considered excellent credit. Excellent credit people would get pretty much any loan that they apply for, and they would get a very good interest rate for that loan. So this is really the area you want to be in. Anywhere between 680 and 799 is considered good credit. So good credit people would get most loans that they apply for, and they would get a very good interest rate. Maybe not the best, but they would get a very good one. People with good credit usually are either younger people that haven't totally established their credit yet, or it's people that have had maybe a couple of tiny mistakes in the past, like they accidentally forgot to pay a bill one month or those kinds of things. Somewhere between 620 and 679 is considered fair credit. So this is kind of like average credit. And because it's average, you would get an average interest rate, and you will get approved for most loans, but not all of them. 580 to 619 is bad credit. This is where you've had several mistakes in the past. You have maybe not paid off your debts, and basically what the credit bureaus are telling you with this number is that you are probably should not be trusted with a loan, and if a company does trust you with a loan, they should charge you a high interest rate. And then finally, 579 and below is considered to be horrible credit. These would be people that have had lots of mistakes in the past, maybe even have declared bankruptcy, and basically banks are saying we're not going to give you a loan because we don't trust you to pay it back. Okay. The 5 C's. I don't want to go into a lot of time with this because if you've watched the previous video, I've already talked about the 5 C's. But I will want you to make sure you know these for the summative. This is going to be a very important part of the summatives, to know the 5 C's of credit. Character. This is all about your history as a person paying back debts. Capital is all of the stuff that you own versus all of the stuff that you owe. So do you own a lot of stuff or do you owe a lot of stuff? Capacity, this is the amount of money that you have coming in. This is your income. Capacity, this would be like how much your salary is. People with a bad capacity score would be with people that either are currently unemployed, or they have a low-paying job, or maybe they have a really spotty work history where they've changed jobs often, so they don't have a very consistent work history. Collateral, this would be things that they can take from you if you don't pay back your loan. In the previous video, we talked a little bit about installment and non-installment credit, and I said for installment credit, this is when you buy something big like a house or jewelry or a car. A lot of companies are more willing to give you a loan for installment credit because if you decide not to pay back your loan, they'll just take from you whatever you bought. So they can repossess your car, they can seize your house, they can do a lot of things. So this would be collateral, what you're going to be giving up if you don't pay back your loan. And then conditions, I talked a little bit about. This is basically how good the economy currently is, and if the bank feels like that it is an economy where they're going to be able to give back their loans. Okay, so ranking the 5 C's of credit, basically I'd like for you to kind of figure out what do you think are the most important of the 5 C's. So if you're currently watching the video, maybe pause it for a second here and try to determine what you think are the most important and what do you think are the least important. Okay, hopefully you did that. If you haven't, pause the video now and do it. But if you did, then let's talk about that. So what do you think are the most important? If I was ranking them, I would say that character is number 1. That's probably the thing they're going to look at the most with you. After that, it's probably going to be either capacity. They want to see that you have income coming in, or collateral. They also want to know that if you don't pay back your debt, that they can get something out of you. And then, so those are probably number 2 and 3. Number 4 would be capital. So that is how much you're worth. And then probably number 5, and even though it's still important, it's probably the least important for you, is conditions. That's the general state of the economy. If the economy is bad, but you still have a very high credit score, you're going to get that loan. You know, the economy is not going to make you not get a loan. On the flip side, if the economy is really good and your credit score is a little low, then you probably will get a loan that you usually wouldn't. Okay, so we're going to do a quick little exercise here where I would like for you to act like you're the person that is determining the credit score. And we're going to look at 5 different people, their scenarios, and we're going to try to determine what credit score we think they deserve. So the first one is a guy named John. John is applying to get a new car. So that is installment credits, and he's going to have collateral because he's buying a car. He's 24 years old. He has a full-time job, and he's been at that job for 2 years. He currently earns $32,000 a year. John has 3 credit cards. One of them has been sent to a collection agency because of his refusal to pay. He currently rents an apartment, and this will be his very first car. The economy is doing well. So what I'd like to do for this first one is I'm going to step through it with you, and we're going to look at all 5 C's for John, and we're going to try to determine what credit score he would probably have. And then I'd like for you to do the other ones on your own. Okay. So very first C, character, John's history. Well, John has a problem. He has a credit card that was sent to a collection agency because he refused to pay it. So John's history is probably not very good, unfortunately. Okay, his next C, his capital score. John doesn't own very much. He is attempting to buy his very first car. He rents an apartment. Doesn't really say anything else about what he currently owns. He does have some other debts, like these other credit cards. So John's capital score would also not be very good, probably. Okay, let's talk about capacity. This is actually a spot where John would be looking pretty good. He earns a decent amount of money. He's been at a job for a couple years now, so he has a fairly steady income. So his capacity score would be pretty good. How about, let's talk about the fourth C, which would be collateral. This is another part where John would actually be pretty good because he's attempting to buy a new car, which could be used for collateral. If John does not pay back his loan, the bank would just simply take the car back. And then very last one, the fifth C, which is conditions. It says here that the economy is doing well. Okay, so to determine his score, we have to, I already went through the 5 C's and we talked about what each one is. We also have to consider, how important they are. Earlier I mentioned that character is probably the most important, and that's actually a bad one for John, unfortunately. And then we talked about how number 2 and 3 is probably capacity and collateral. Those two are good for him. Number 4 is capital. That's another bad one for him. And then number 5 is conditions, and that's probably a good one for him. So think to yourself, and I'll go back to this list so that we can maybe look at it. If you were going to give him a number somewhere between 300 and 850, what do you think John deserves? I'm going to give you a moment to think about that, and then I'll tell you what I would probably give him, and I would explain why. Okay, so hopefully you have a number in your head. If I was the credit agency, I probably would give John a score of high 600s, maybe low 700s. Okay, I think he has fair to good credit. Now, he definitely does not have excellent credit, and he definitely does not have the high side of good, because his character score is really hurting him. He had that issue in the past. But he has a steady job, he has money coming in, and he's asking for a loan that has good collateral. So I would say because of that, he is fair to good. What I'd like for you to do now, and I'm going to actually stop the video, so you're going to do this without the video, but there are 4 more people that have situations, and I'd like for you to read their situations and kind of think about what score you would give them and why. One reason I'm asking you to do this is because you will be asked to do this on the summative. Okay, so go ahead and try this on your own. Good luck.